thing when you start working on RStudio is that you have to set the workspace for your data files. So for an example, if you are working in a large data set and there may be many Excel files or text files, it is very easy if you set the work directory for that workspace. So in our programming, we can set the workspace by specifying set w, and here you have to give the path of your data. So in my case, my data set is in this folder, so I am going to copy that data folder URL and paste it here. So in R you have to specify 2 backslash when you are giving an. So likewise we can set the work directory in R like this. So when you are working with RStudio, the main things that we do is working with mainly text files or CSV files, because most of the data that we use are available in these types of file formats. So the first thing, it is important to know how we can import or how we can load this data into the RStudio. So in this example, I'll show you how we can read CSV files in RStudio. So for that, you have to first create a variable. For this example, I am going to load the XY coordinates file, which is a Cartesian coordinate file, which has a point number and its corresponding X and Y coordinates. So to read this CSV file, you can specify read dot the file format, which is CSV in this case, and specify the location of that file. So here I'm going to load this CSV file. For that, you can get this URL, and then specify like this. Since we have already specified the work directory, we don't have to use the entire path of the file. You just have to use the relative path only. And then you have to specify the file name. So I'll just copy and paste it here. So while importing a CSV file, you have to specify whether there is a header or not. So we can specify that by giving T, which is equivalent to true, I guess. And then we can specify the head. So likewise, we can write the codes to import this particular CSV file to the RStudio. So now we can run this chunk of code. So now you can see it has loaded the first 6 rows, including the header file also. So in this way we can import the CSV files also. So another important file type that we are working with is the text files or TXT files. So it can also done. It is quite similar to when reading a CSV file also, but there are some other things we can specify explicitly when importing TXT files. So for this one, we are going to use a different function. In here, it is instead of CSV, we are specifying as table. And in the same way, we can specify the file location. However, in this time we are specifying as a TXT file, because in this example we are going to import a TXT file. So like always, we have to specify whether there is a header in the file, and then we have to include the separation symbol. So when working with different data sets, there can be different types of separators. For an example, in this example, my point file has a separation is the comma. So when you're working with different factors, there may be a space or maybe a semicolon likewise. So if the separation column and column separation symbol is a semicolon, you can specify that the separation symbol is comma likewise. So I have to specify the header also. So let's run this. So in here you can see that we have correctly loaded the TXT file into the RStudio. So in addition to that, if you want to get a summary regarding this data, you can always use this syntax and specify the variable and run it again. So in here you can see it gives a kind of a summary report regarding the our three columns, which is point number, x coordinate and y coordinate. It gives the minimum value, maximum value, median, and other descriptive statistics also. So for a long time when you're working with the RStudio, we had some trouble importing XLS files. However, now there is a different library that we can use to read XLS file or Excel files. So for that you have to install the library read Excel, because I am not going to install it again because I have already installed it in RStudio. So you can just call it after installing the library and then specify the file to import. I'll name it as point file 2, and then for this you have to use the underscore Excel method or form, and then you can give the file path as well. So in this way you can import Excel files as well with the new RStudio. So if you want to get a summary report of the data structure, you can use this str, and then you can specify the point file or the data file and then run. So here you can get the file types, num values, whether what kind of file type is the point number, x coordinate and y coordinate. So likewise you can get various information with the RStudio regarding the Excel files, and also there are different ways that you have to remember the importing these file types, especially when you are using a non-standard format like using a separator as a semicolon. Likewise, you have to specify the separation symbol like this, because most of the time if this comma is the default separation symbol, so See you in the next video.